I stole from my classmates for 4 years in middle school. When I was a kid, I went to a rich private school that I got HUUGE scholarship to go to. The school really needed diversity, so they were desperate for non-white kids LMAO. This school was basically the one. I mean, big houses, pools, people always traveling internationally during break, nannies and drivers, second and third houses, big parties, etc. etc. I learned pretty soon that unlike me, most of my friends never had to worry about money. So, in my child mind, I figured that they could afford as many toys as they wanted, and since I couldn't ask my mom for the things they had, I could just steal from them and it would be fine because they could replace it. From ages 7-11 I stole toys from people's cubbies, pens and pencils from desks, clothes people let me borrow, toys from houses during play dates, makeup, candy, books, etc. I got really good, like stealth video game good. If I was doing it during school, I would ask to go to the bathroom during class and just go to the cubbies, lockers, search through my target's backpack, put what I wanted deep in my backpack, and I would time myself so I wouldn't go back to class too early and arouse suspicion. Before the mission I would kinda watch the person I was stealing from to see where in their bag they put what I wanted so I could take it quickly later and not have to search for too long. If I stole from a friend, sometimes they'd mention to me that they lost something, and I guess I was a good actress because I would feign sympathy and get away with it. I was a relatively quiet kid too, so it was easy not to draw attention to myself. No one ever caught on, and I never felt guilty I was an asshole honestly, as children with underdeveloped morals tend to be. But after I turned 11 I started becoming much kinder and the guilt hit me full force. I finally fully understood the concept of empathy and realized how upset I'd be if someone else stole from me. I stopped, but by that point I was too ashamed and scared to try and return anything and have to tell my mom and my friends. 10 years later, I still have stolen books collecting dust on my bookshelf and a few stolen toys in storage somewhere. I definitely developed an inferiority complex from not being able to relate to my classmates, and that was my kid logic way of dealing with it. It made me happy having what they had. It's not an excuse though, and I wish I could go back and give everyone back their stuff, but well. TLDR. I went to a rich private school and felt embarrassed for being significantly less wealthy than my classmates, so I stole from people constantly for 4 years to feel better. First, I hope you made the most of your scholarship and not only graduated with good final grades but learned the kinds of things that only the teachers of rich kids teach only rich kids. Even the language you have to use in order to fit in with them, saying, well off, instead of rich, or saying, in finance, rather than, stockbroker, can be really valuable later on in life to avoid having well-off people label you as an outsider to be wary around and keep distance from. So I hope you benefited there. Second, I have to say I'm impressed that you developed empathy at age 11. Most adolescents, ages 10 to 12, and many teens, ages 13 to 19, are notable for being downright sociopathic in their total absence of empathy and fellow feeling. Some of the worst heartless callousness is found in adolescents and to a lesser extent in teens. The disco generation pales in comparison to them in terms of barbaric emotional butchery for no reason. So you done good to get past that subhuman stage of life at such a young age. Finally, I'm always glad to see a post by someone who has an innate sense of right and wrong. I classify people into two main types. Those who, like you, have an innate sense of right and wrong, and those who don't understand anything except getting what they want. I feel that the former really are superior to the latter and wish I could do more to help them. The latter are free to die screaming as far as I'm concerned. There are times I doubt their qualifications to be considered part of the human species. But you definitely are part of the human species, so I'm glad you took the time to post. Cheers. In middle school, I managed to get my class a free period, utilizing a pencil. This is going to be a short one. I was in middle school and had French class after lunch. During lunch, hanging out with my friends at the table, people are talking about how much they hate Ms. X's French class. I'm not even censoring her name, I legit forgot her name and now it's bugging me lol. Occasionally she would lose her key to get into the class, which would result in us students hanging out in the hallway goofing off while she went to go get the spare. This resulted in students occasionally, it was like 2 or 3 times, tampering with the door, so we would get a free period. Someone suggested tampering with the door that day so we couldn't get in and would get a free to goof off, and I don't know why I volunteered. We were lined up at the classroom door, she was late as usual, I went up to the door when not many students was looking, a few of my friends were watching with smiles from ear to ear, and a few other students. Which was bad, I'll explain why soon enough. I jammed the lead end of a pencil into the lock and snapped it off so no key could get into it. Then I got back in line grinning and real proud of myself for hooking up my classmates. That is, until this kid, who ironically was the class clown, yelled out, "Ooh, JD, you gonna get in trouble." Now I'm nervous as hell because this idiot is making a scene about it trying to be funny. I'm looking at him like STFU please, there's a stupid grin on his face. I'm ready to start sweating bullets cause now here comes Ms. X down the hall, and he's still giggling and pointing and I'm like, you did this a couple of weeks ago and we said nothing, keep playing with me. He just giggling but he did shut his mouth up thankfully, by the time she got to the door. I wasn't even trying to look towards the door cause I felt like that would be too suspicious lol. I could hear the teacher complaining about the door being stuck and asking, who did this? As soon as she asked that, I was preparing myself for someone to squeal on me but no one did. No one said anything, she had to go get the janitor as usual and we got a free period. I didn't do that again. Too much stress lol. I ripped up my friend's Pokemon cards when I was a kid and framed someone else. This memory never seems to want to leave my thoughts as I feel the guilt pretty often. Sorry for the weird formatting, I'm writing this on my phone. In my neighborhood, you had the standard childhood friend group with all the kids around your age on your street. We all had our fair share of Pokemon cards and would trade them whenever we could, as you'd expect. My friend's little brother, who I'll call John, had way more cards than I had, since my parents didn't let me buy new Pokemon cards very often. Being the jealous little child I was, I decided the best course of action was to rip up a few of his cards to get some sort of point across. John was obviously upset after discovering the scene of the crime in my very own backyard, so I claimed our friend down the street, who I'll call Tony, has ripped up. You'd think with the cards found in my backyard, he'd put 2 and 2 together, but we were young. Afterwards, John, his brother and I stormed down to Tony's house on our bikes, knocked on his door and demanded the truth. Obviously he denied the claim and even got his dad to come back him up, but I even started to believe my own lie as the truth, and insisted that he was lying. I have no idea what went on in my head when I was younger, but I'm glad I can look back on myself and cringe, knowing that I have grown out of my criminal phase. A year or so later I fled the city in attempt to leave my criminal past behind. My parents got divorced, so since then, I haven't seen any of my neighborhood buddies since. I spent loads of money on my dad's account back in the 360 days. When I was younger I loved playing on the 360 and my friends were getting loads of new games so I wanted to join in so I bought a few games then I bought a few more. I spent a few £200 to £300 on games and add-ons. Please don't send hate to me, I feel terrible for what I have done. The bad thing is this isn't the first time I have done something like this. I haven't done it since. I badmouthed a teacher in writing and consequently got another student suspended in the process. This was years ago in 5th grade. I was a pretty naughty kid in class. There were times where I would get kicked out of the classroom, for a few minutes, as a form of disciplinary action for my behavior. Nothing serious, I was just a generally noisy and annoying student at the most. There was one student in 6th grade that was an asshole to my friend and things about him being a bully were being said among the 5th and 6th grade students on our school. One of the times I got sent out of the classroom, I got the idea to try to get back on the teacher who sent me out but in a way that it wouldn't be known as me. At least, that was what I intended. So I wrote something on the school bathroom wall badmouthing him saying something like, "Son of a bitch teacher." As classes ended that day eventually somebody was bound to find it, and some students did. Upon being told about it, the particular teacher looked into it himself to find out who did that to him. Based on the handwriting, which I changed drastically to avoid attention, his suspicions geared towards some of the troublesome 6th graders. I watched them defend themselves, got taken to the principal's office, and last I heard the particular 6th grader I mentioned was the one who got blamed and he wasn't allowed to enroll in that school for the following school year. I didn't really intend for that particular bully to be suspended, but it did. I didn't come forward on the matter because it was immediately settled and I was too much of a coward to do so. Every time I think about it I still feel guilty. Revenge is something that I gotta admit I've always been wanting to be onto. I've been bullied a lot as well. Up until today I've always tried to be the bigger person and not give in to my desire for it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not easy. Even with guilt driving me to be better, it's still pretty difficult. That's my first confession. I'm bored and lockdown situations are starting to get to me I guess, and I just want someone else to talk to aside from my friends. Thanks for reading and pardon my English. not my native language. Hey guys, if you like this video then smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more contents like this. And don't forget to press that bell icon to get notified for future videos. Thanks for watching. Click here to see more videos.